Council President.
Mr. Brown.
You know, you just can't put this
Paul,
ordinance on here and say it's
Paul.
going to be forever.
Paul, you just said it yourself. We don't know what the future's going to be.
Right.
What you're asking for is you're saying set a time limit, right?
Yes, 1 year,
Yet-
2 years.
All right, 1 year, 2 year, not knowing what the future is,
Right.
correct? So therefore, if we find ourselves in this position 3 years from now or 4 years from now, what are we going to do?
Well, then you have to come up with, ratables are supposed to be coming in,
Paul,
development coming in.
Paul, I asked you that question because rather than talk
One
hypothetically,
person.
what we have been, I mean, I'm tired and our financial planner's here. We're looking at projections, we're looking at numbers. We've been going over this as early as I think 10 o'clock this morning today, going over future budget projections on where we're going to be at. So Paul, when you're coming up here and asking us, you know, put a time limit, we can't put a time limit if we don't know where we're going to be 3, 4, 5 years from now. This is the problem that happened in the past when, you know, we didn't have a 5-year plan. So I understand what you're saying,
Yeah,
but that is being worked on.
like here, we got 46 employees leaving. Now, you're going to rehire 46 people?
No.
Okay.
Paul, we've been downsizing.
Okay,
All
well,
right, thank you for your comment. Comment from Mr. Brown.
Okay. I was going to wait till everyone spoke, but since you brought up the idea of privatizing public sanitation and trash, I think what a lot of people are focusing on is that when we talk about, and what they call a tax fee, I'm not focused on the word, is that everyone's focused on that. It's just dealing with trash and garbage. What people, and I want people to understand, is that we're talking about public works and offsetting some of these services. Now, Linden, for the last couple of months, people came up, Linden provides these services. You're right, we provide these services, which everyone's right, it's in their tax bill, where other municipalities don't. So I'll give you a perfect example. You talk about trash pickup, you go to Scotch Plains, which is in Union County, you have to pay $97 for your application fee just to remove $750 worth of trash. In Linden, we remove your trash 4 times a year, and you're not capped at it. Other towns, I think you're paying anywhere between $25 to about $50 a month to remove to remove garbage. In Linden, it's in their tax bill. Now, take trash and garbage outside. If we privatize public works, here's some of the other services that we all enjoy the benefits of. Trees. We all like these trees to be trimmed. If we eliminate public works, guess what? We have to go, no, but ma'am, let me finish.
I don't want to eliminate public works.
But ma'am, it goes hand in hand. You can't.
No, it doesn't have to.
We've went over this. I went over this today with their attorneys. I went over this. You're telling me it's not. But the reality is this is what happens, is that it's a snowball effect. It's not as easy as saying we're going to privatize sanitation. This is happening all over the state where it is a snowball effect. So let me finish and let me tell you what's going on with public works. One is trees. We have to go out there and bid that. We lose control over that. So the days of when you call public works or call a council person and come trim a tree, those days are gone. Sidewalks, when we repair those sidewalks, whether it's a crack and anything else like that, that's gone. Where we have to go out and still bid that. Sewer services, the benefit where residents will call when their sewers are backed up, we either have to increase that fee to cover the cost of people coming out or eliminate that. The emergency services that a public works department does right now, cleaning those sewers, we will have to go out there and bid those services as well. That would be an additional cost. Trash collection, I already talked about that, where we would have to start charging for that, a separate fee to incur those. When we talk about leaf removal, I know a couple of years ago we talked about bagging leaves. That was a very unpopular idea, but we've seen that some municipalities bag leaves in order to try to save money in some way. Again, eliminating public works. If we don't have people to do pick up trash and pick up garbage, those trucks are useless. Guess what? When we talk about, I mentioned this before, snow plowing, we have to go out there and bid that. That, again, is more expensive. Road repair work, graffiti removal, cleaning Wood Avenue. Right now, the city of Linden cleans Wood Avenue, which is under the control of SID at no additional cost. So what we would have to do is start charging SID to clean Wood Avenue, which would then eliminate the funds that they have to beautify Wood Avenue. Trash, grass removal, what other towns do is that you have to actually take your grass after you cut it and go dump it yourselves. The closure of the recycling center. Some municipalities eliminate the hours of the recycling center during the week and have it only on Saturdays and Sundays. And there's other things that Public Works does. Now, you're disagreeing me with this, but I guess one thing I want to make it very clear. Everyone's saying there has to be another way. For the last, since January, we're looking at different ways. We're getting surveys of other towns. We're looking at where could we cut costs here? What are we spending money on? Unless anybody else can tell me real numbers, this is what we've looked at that's happening, what other towns are doing. And I mean, we have our financial planner here who works for the city. One of his employees came in and told us today, he says, my town itself eliminated our public works going to private and is privatizing. You mentioned Bergen County. How many years ago was that when they were, did you live there? Nowadays.
37 years.
37 years. I guarantee you go there now, the rate
No. Just recently, my mom sold her house in Bergen County.
And are they paying for trash?
No.
Are they paying for garbage
neither.
removal? But
No.
well, what I'm trying to tell you is that this is not an issue where it's simple as saying removing, let me finish, as removing this, privatizing that, and changing schedules. Because the reality is we're $5.2 million over the cap this year, and we know that we're going to have the same problem next year. So if we so when we talk about furloughs, or we talk about eliminating positions, that only helps us this year, these furloughs, as a one-time expense reduction. Next year, we're in the same problem.
Okay. With regard to, I did not say eliminate Public Works. I said to see about garbage and trash. There are haulers that, like Waste Management and others, that will just take garbage and trash.
Do you know how much that would cost?
Hold on a second. When you factor in the cost of these trucks, the repair, the salaries, the liability, the insurance, somebody needs to sit there with a calculator and figure out, do the math. It's savings.
And
then,
that's what I'm trying to tell you. We have done these, unless you can tell me where the numbers are coming from.
Okay, well, I don't have access to your numbers,
And this
so
is
I
what I'm
can't,
trying to
but
tell you.
Okay, but I've came from another county, another city, and unless you lived here all your life, which some people have, you don't know and haven't experienced other city life. I don't know your background.
But what I do know is that the city of Linden used to have a landfill where we used to dump our trash at no additional cost and
said that.
and bring in that. Those days are gone.
Oh.
As a result, forget just a simple employees, right? Take that factor out. It costs us over $700,000 just to dump trash.
And what does it
Now, if I
cost us
look
for
at-
the health insurance
Now-
at 100% with no contribution?
But man, what you're saying is that privatize Public Works, right? I mean, you said privatize trash and garbage, right?
Correct.
Right now, we're down to 85 guys. So you're saying keep those guys, so then the cost of insurance
Well,
is not changing? Are you
complained
saying
last
lay
night
off
that-
those guys?
You complained, no, you remember in the board meeting, I said not lay you off. They use them for other things. I'm sure they have other talents and other things they could attend to. Why was each one of you complaining last night that something in your ward wasn't getting done? Why?
I'll be honest with you, it wasn't a
Why?
matter of complaining. I'll be honest with the
Really,
public.
you got frustrated last night?
About what?
Like
It had
the
nothing to do,
residents.
it has nothing to do with Public Works. And I've come up here and we've all said it publicly, where Public Works, our Public Works Department is the best in the state. Especially after Sandy, the work that they did in the state was excellent. However,
Mr. Brown, I
just like,
think,
but let me finish, Jim, is that, I'm sorry if anybody here came off saying that we were complaining, is that we, like everybody else here, want something done yesterday. And I have no gripes with our Public Works Department because of the hard work that they do. And if it takes them a day or two to get something done, I have no problem. I've personally helped them out and cut grass because of the shortage.
Thank
But
you.
nevertheless, I want to make it very clear, is that if we privatize our trash and garbage,
Thank you, sir.
It's not the solution. We've ran these numbers. We have, and again, for the last couple of months, we've had our financial planners come in and help us. What is our cash flow analysis? Give us our budget projections for the next couple of years. Alexis will talk about where we've even looked at analysis as far as how many employees in Public Works we had a couple of years, and what do we have them, where we stand at today. Rich Colsey here, he was in charge of reconsolidating Public Works and Recreation, where, yes, we are short manpower in Public Works, but then we're having the people in Recreation help out. This is not as simple as privatizing, thinking that this is going to solve the problem.
Okay, last comment. Let's say we don't privatize. There's no benefit to it at all. Nobody wants to change the schedule either. So I guess basically us residents coming up to the podium, expressing suggestions or whatever is going on deaf ears, because you know what? Without change, you're not going to be able to
Ma'am,
succeed.
it's not going on deaf ears, and no one said that they're against changing the schedule.
Well, guess
But
what?
the-
I was here last time, and Jack Sheehy said it's the same schedule for how many years? Nobody wants to change it. People need a reality check or need to wake up.
And I explained, and
I'm
I
done.
think, and I think Jack explained.
Thank
No
you very
change,
much.
nothing.
Anybody else in the
Jim?
chamber wish, Mr. Brown?
Ms. Hero, you talk about doing what's right. And here's what's, in my opinion, no one here wants to pass this. No one here is looking to do this. And you know what? I pay property taxes just like everybody else on council here pay property taxes. My family lives here, and this is going to affect me just as the same. However, here's the reality of it. We have two options. Is that we have to have some type of recurring revenue, or we eliminate these services. I just made a list of forget trash and garbage. I mentioned trees, sidewalks, sewer services, street sweeping, leaf removal, snow, salting, de-icing, road work, graffiti removal, cleaning Wood Avenue. We mentioned, I didn't mention the landfill, grass collection, septic system on Range Road, OEM. A lot of our public works employees help out with OEM, parks and grass maintenance, closure of the recycling center, calls from police and fire where our public works helps out with that as well. And Sandy and Hurricane Irene saw what a tremendous job that these guys did. Now, it's a matter of doing what's right. Do the council eliminate these services? Or do we try to find a way to offset it and still provide these services? And again, these are services that other towns don't even have, or the ones that they do, some of the bare minimum as far as trash and garbage removal, they are paying a steep fee for it. Ms. You spoke, let me finish. Now, with that being said, that's just Public Works. Alan, one of the reasons why we went into executive session, because Alan, our labor attorney, explained it very clearly. If we don't pass this, doing what's right, talk about it from a public safety standpoint, we're going to have to lay off a massive amount of cops. Ms. Hero, you want cops out in the street, I want cops out in the street. How are we going to pay for this? Or how are we going to pay for these firefighters? How are we going to pay for the public safety if we don't have a recurring revenue coming in? It's very easy for anyone to say, don't do this. But what I would like for someone to come up and give me an alternative, because the reality is we're in a situation here where we either cut all these services that you enjoy and everybody else and that I enjoy, or we have to bring in some type of recurring revenue. So I would like and I'm sorry, what I would like to hear from you is, what is your alternative? What is your solution?
First of all, I am in favor of, and by the way, I just want to announce to everybody, because you might not know, library services are being cut, okay? So needless to say, I'm taking a massive hit with that one too. But I'm not going to complain about it because I know we're in tough times, budget times. What I was in favor of, I'm in favor of cutting the centers. Keep them open, like one recreation center, half a day, the other recreation, half a day. One of you want me to say that in public? I just said it in public. I have said it in private, though, to several council people. How I'd like to take garbage maybe down to one time a week. I know for some of us that would be hard, but maybe we'd be willing to sacrifice that. But paying, no. Maybe, for example, tree trimming. Maybe we should charge people if they want their tree trimmed. Maybe that's an option. But you know what? For something like a mandatory $10, or now, I understand we were talking 50, I've heard through the grapevine we were talking 15, maybe we're not talking 15, maybe we're still talking 10, but who knows, maybe next year, you'll love the recurring revenue so much next year you'll make it 15. Who knows? Mr. Brown, let me put it this way. You're an expert on finance. Anybody can look for a way to increase revenues by charging us more. I was hoping that you would start cutting more.
Ms.
Thank you.
Ms. Hero, I have cut, and I can give you a list of ways that we have cut. Now, like you said, increasing revenue, you mentioned charging for trees. Where does it stop? You could do a $10 a month fee where you still get these services, or we can do, let's give you a perfect example. I just said it, going from sewer cleanup, going from, when we do the calls right now, going from 100 to 300. We can go through a list of services we provide in nickel and dime residents. So now you start charging for tree service, you start cleaning, you start charging for sewer service, you start charging for every
But
little
like I
thing. Ms.
said, where
Hero,
does it stop?
Exactly, Ms. Hero. When does it stop? Or you do a simple $10 a month fee, service charge, or whatever you want to keep these same services. And I ask you, where do we get this money to close in this $5.2 million? And I'm here, I would like to hear your suggestion, because all you told me was tree trimming right now, charging for tree
And
trimming.
other things, I had a copy of the budget, which I don't have now. I'm saying, do we have to spend, just because the department gives us a list of everything they want, do we have to give them everything? Do we have to buy all their equipment? Do we have to do this? Granted, I'm not talking about computers, okay? So let's leave that off the table. But I am saying there's a lot of stuff they ask for that we may not need or want, or maybe we could put it off another year.
Can you give me
That's
an
the kind of
example?
thing you're looking at. No, I can't, because I don't have the information in front of me, but we talked about it, I believe, at the first and second ward
Mr.
meeting, and I believe at the third
I
ward
got to
meeting.
interrupt you because I've given you double time here.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else in the chamber wishes to make comment on 5725?
Council President, at the appropriate time, I want to make a comment.
Give us some back.
Mr. Brown?
John, it's a great idea, and that is something that's being considered. And like I've mentioned at this council meeting, the meeting prior to that, we have our financial team looking and doing projections. I think, as we learned tonight, we didn't get in this situation overnight. This is something that, over time, is now finally hitting us. So what do we do differently? What do we do to prevent it? Is we need a plan. We need to see where our projections are next year, the year after that. I've been saying that 2 years ago, we need a 5-year plan. So in order for us to reasonably put in a cap, we need to know what is our budget going to look like in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, in order to make that decision, hey, let's put a cap in because this is where we feel, our budget's going to be at. And it's not a matter of the council at this point, it's a matter of getting and leveraging the expertise and the help of our professionals in order to help prepare that for us. So that's not off the table. However, we can't say, hey, we're going to do it in 2 years, not knowing where we're going to be at in 3 years from now.
I understand,
That'd
but
just be
it
irresponsible.
might actually just, make it easier for you guys, I understand this puts a lot of stress on all you guys.
We got a
Absolutely
lot to go.
understand.
Your time's
Okay,
up.
thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Brown?
I'd like to respond. Ms. Hero, there's a lot of things I have problems with what you said. One, you talk about cutting down spending. You're more than welcome to come up one day in the treasurer's office, and we will show you where we cut down spending, because you went to 2 of our budget meetings, and we showed you where we cut spending. So that's number one, to say that we don't. Number 2, when you come up here and say that nobody on council here cares about residents, about what's going on, that's totally untrue. We all campaign, we all knocked on doors, and we see what's going on. But the reality is the other option, Ms. Hero, unless you agree with that, I disagree with the state of New Jersey coming in to Linden and taking us over. I made it perfectly clear, we are going to run out of cash in July and August. How am I going to knowingly vote against saving Linden at this point? What you're saying to me is cut services, so reduce garbage pickup, reduce trash pickup, and I went over the list over and over again of services that we would have to cut. What I'm getting from you is what you're telling me is that's okay. Don't find a recurring revenue to pay for that stuff. Let it go by the wayside. How is that fair to my neighbor? How is that fair to you? How is it fair to anyone here in Linden where we're just going to have a total disregard as far as our current state of affair and let things go by the wayside? It would be irresponsible, and I would be neglecting my fiduciary responsibility knowing that we're in a financial crisis not to do something about it. Now, you may disagree with it, Ms. Hero, and I respect your opinion, but not once have you came up with any idea as far as a reoccurring revenue or any type of revenue source where we could do to fix this. At the same time, last month, I asked you to come to our Monday night caucus meetings. I didn't see you there yesterday when we were at length discussing this. This is a major problem that no one here is taking lightly. I've made it very clear that we are risking a downgrade in our bond rating. But you're neglecting to mention, and you're neglecting to remember, and you're neglecting, to take in consideration is that we have a serious problem that we're trying to stop. Linden is bleeding. I've been saying this for the last couple of months. You're hearing from our treasurer about our assessed value in Linden over the last couple of years. Citywide has gone down by over $120 million. That affects your taxes right off the bat. Where businesses are leaving here, homeowners are leaving here, we need to do something, but all I'm hearing from you is cut spending.
That's why they're leaving, because the property taxes are too high, and we're all leaving for other communities,
Ms. Hero, I
including
disagree.
people who have government jobs that when
Mr.
they
Brown,
retire,
Ms.
get out of
Hero,
New Jersey.
5 minutes are up, I have to move
know.
on.